What's going on, y'all? I'm back after a short break and really appreciate all the love shown to me when I announced that my father had passed. I was hesitant to post something so personal, but afterwards realized that so many of you had experienced the same tragedy in your lives, sometimes even almost around the same time I had. A lot of you could relate, so I felt better airing it out. But as I said, he would have wanted me to continue this journey, so that's what I'm gonna do, starting with a brand new build. Your squad will literally love you because everyone eats here. But I gotta say, the devs need to roll out a new patch because man, I do not like this one for PvP, not PvE. The reason is that it forces you to either run spotter, pulse resistance, or both. And it's very difficult to play PvP without protecting yourself from the meta. I mean, at least against previous metas, you had a chance to surprise the enemy, but now you are constantly being seen, which is why many of my builds haven't really been PvP, because you have to make builds specifically cater to that, and I like variety. But for this, I decided to dabble in it a bit because it's very beneficial for both playstyles and very strong in terms of DPS. So before we dive in, I'd appreciate a like on the video and subscribe to my channel for builds from DPS all the way to skill. Now let's get into it. Okay, the purpose of this build is, first of all, make sure that you are a complete threat in regards to DPS. And with the attribute roles, I have status damage as well. I'll show you the stats at the end so you can actually see how much crit I have personally. It's insane. But I call this build critical support because it offers massive crit chance and damage to your team. My primary weapon is a huge part of that. The Grudge, first of all, if you didn't know, is the same SMG variant as the exotic Lady Death, which means by nature it hits like a truck. Secondly, its name talent called Perfect Vindictive grants anyone within 20 meters 18% crit hit chance and crit hit damage for 20 seconds upon killing an enemy with a status effect applied. I'll get to the secondary in a second because I need to drive this point forward. So that's 18% right. The second source is the amazing 𝐤𝐤𝐳 mask, which can be stacked, by the way. So if anyone else is wearing it, you get more. But here's what this does. Grants a whopping 25% crit hit damage for simply shooting an enemy within 15 meters. Then another 10% crit hit chance and damage for anything more than 15 meters. So you, along with your squad, will gain 28% crit hit chance and 53% crit hit damage on top of what you're already dealing. This is an assault rifle's dream. Now let's get back to the secondary. With this, I alternate between the Scorpio and blue screen, depending on what I'm playing. Both of them are really awesome with this build setup, so it's really your preference. As you know, the Scorpio works really well by interrupting pretty much any enemy while dealing insane damage. And the blue screen is more of a sit back support LMG, so it's your choice. Now look at the chest piece. With this talent called Trauma, it'll easily allow you to activate Perfect Vindictive. I'm sorry to interrupt, but YouTube notifications are terrible, so I had to take matters into my own hands and let you know what I got going on. I came here from my second channel, Identity Games, and would love it if you could support me there as well. A total different vibe you'll get, and the best thing is that you don't even have to leave this video. Just click this link and subscribe, but make sure that afterwards you come see me over there. Identity Games is a game dev channel where I'm developing my own project, an open world RPG looter shooter. Check it out and let me know what you think of it. Because Trauma blinds enemies with headshots and bleeds them with body shots, which then grants you that crit once they're killed. Trauma is also a pain against players in PvP. I mean, that quick blindness can be the difference between life and death. And honestly, that blind is not necessarily that quick for this build. because my attributes I have rolled are crit hit chance and status effects everywhere. This works perfectly because I have an SMG equipped. They have natively 21% crit hit chance, so it's easy to stack that with a few weapon attachments. And then all you need to do is stack crit hit damage to basically max out everything. And as I said, with status effects rolled everywhere as well. Anything that causes it will be deadly, even if you have no skill tiers, which is why the blind from trauma will be so potent. This brings me to the specialization. I initially began with technician, but decided to switch to firewall. For one, the armor kit is awesome. And in PvE, when your armor breaks, it sets enemies on fire, which is to your benefit. I'm sure you know why. Plus, Firewall grants you another layer of burn proficiency that makes your status effects even stronger. Now, to increase my crit hit damage, this Groupo holster is perfect, 27% for this piece alone. And to increase my status effects, also give me more damage, I have Anarchist Cookbook, which for the first piece of Golan offers status effects, 10%. This synergy is amazing, I tell you. But I'm not done yet. And this next piece is actually what inspired this build, because I've never been able to get this specific roll on the firm handshakes before. It came with crit hit damage already, which is what I wanted, and it makes the build very solid. The final piece are the Fox's Prayer knee pads with status effects rolled. And some of you may have noticed that I have damage to armor roll on the Grudge. I meant to roll targets out of cover damage, but I just forgot. These are the skills I use. Burn Sticky Bomb I think is one of the best to use for me. But since I have status effects rolled, you can use anything else like the Bleed Hive or Firestarter Chem Launcher. Secondly, there's the decoy. This is great in so many situations. It actually helps against pulse in PvP because after being pulsed, when you drop the decoy, the pulse goes to your decoy instead of you, giving you a little bit of a chance at least. But that's the build, folks. Check these stats out as I said. And when all the stars align, your crit chance and damage will be more than maxed out. So you'll hit like a truck while supporting your team so much. Let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. I appreciate you watching to the end. It means a lot. I'll catch you in the next one. Be right out. I've got Ultratech Gear, which consists of chest armor, helmets, gloves, and footwear, weapons, assault rifles, pistols, shotguns, snipers, and more. I briefly went over those in a previous devlog. Then there's special ammo that when looting you can find and store on your character for future use. I like this idea because some games I play, when picking up consumables, especially in looter shooters, you must use them right away, at least when pertaining to special item and stuff regarding combat. This to me takes away from the strategy that you could possibly implement by utilizing that ammo. The next thing you'll be able to loot is gold. The lore of Identity Rebels states that it's in a time where paper money is no longer of value. Only gold and the likes of it are considered currency, and it's abundantly available in some areas, and others not so much. But all of this is considered loot, and each one serves specific purposes. Now, I wanted this to have a nice aesthetic to its style, and with that, each loot